Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another Indie Game Friday, where each week I take a look at a different independent computer role-playing game. This week I'm taking a brief look at Mysterious Realms, a very indie adventure-style role-playing game from a couple years past. Developed and published by Etherius, it was released on Steam on October of 2018. Mysterious Realms is a top-down RPG with color-matching turn-based combat and mission-based campaign play. You play the part of two pre-made adventurers forced to crawl through dungeons and deal with the growing forces of a rising evil because of their own misdeeds. In terms of plot, you play the part of two troublemakers, Savoth and Vurix, who as youths were wandering around without much purpose. After being caught by some townsfolk causing some mischief or other, they were given an ultimatum: help save the world, or else. And so they are sent out to face all sorts of nearby threats. The game consists of basically three main sections. In town, you can buy equipment and upgrade your various crystals. On the overworld, you can journey to various missions you've unlocked. And in the most prominent section, you wander around a dungeon, looting containers and exploring. Once you enter the game, you are dropped right into the dungeon, but I'm actually going to take a look at the other two sections first. In town is where you prepare for each adventure. The interface is basically a map with places that you can visit by clicking on them. There's a status bar along the bottom of your screen that lists your accrued gold, your accrued crystals, your accrued eggs, and the number of days that have passed in-game. Crystals are used to upgrade your main crystals used in combat, while the eggs allow you to purchase better gear the more of them you collect. In town, there are 4 places to visit, and then an exit to the world map. The first place to visit is the Oracle. In the Oracle, you can unlock various skills to use in the dungeon or upgrade existing skills, both by spending gold. Each of the 2 characters can have 4 slots available for equipable skills at any one point, and each skill can have up to 4 upgrade levels. Within the Oracle screen, you can also see each character's basic stats. The Witch is where you upgrade your various crystals. There are 5 main types of crystals: red, yellow, blue, green, and then silver. You have 2 silver crystals that function as wild cards in your overall crystal deck and have power based on your equipped weapons, while the other 4 colors have 4 crystals each. Each individual crystal can be upgraded in terms of power level, which affects the amount of damage that crystal does when used in combat. You can have 2 types of energized crystals that can be used to upgrade each of those 4 colored main crystals based on the energized crystal's color. Purple upgrades red and blue, while orange upgrades yellow and green. Upgrading crystals costs more and more with each level that you do it. The blacksmith is where you buy your gear. You can sell unused equipment and purchase gear to equip onto each main character. Each of the 2 characters can equip 1 helm, a set of body armor, a main and then an offhand, a boot, and a ring. These can each upgrade the character's base statistics. Finally, there's the merchant, where you can buy expendable items. Consumable items can be used in or out of combat depending on what they are. Some are limited, and they can have a variety of effects, from healing you to damaging creatures to upping your own damage and more. Some items can even be used in various challenges that you find in the dungeon. Exiting to the world map allows you to select your next mission. Other missions become available in different areas as you complete lower level missions. Each mission has a suggested level, 1 or 2 objectives to complete, and then the rewards that you earn from completing them. You can actually go back and complete previously cleared missions if you need to earn more experience or items. Once you embark into the dungeon, you enter the dungeon exploration screen. The main part of the screen is a view of the dungeon, which are usually represented by a single screen of tile-based map. It is revealed as you explore it, since you can only see a short distance around you. To the right, you see the various combat and skill-related information. At the top are your 2 main characters and their relevant skills. Beneath that is an open area where lootable objects appear, as well as enemy cards when you encounter them. Below this is your crystals, which are preserved between fights. Beneath that is the number of icons, the next turn icon, which lets you pass a turn, and that usually doesn't happen outside of combat. The crystal list from your deck that shows you your active crystals, their power, what turn it is, the experience that you've gathered, and so on. There's the objective scroll, which lets you see how far you've progressed to the overall objectives of that level. And then the character stats and information. There's the general help screen, the options, and then the inventory. Each character has the following stats: their experience and overall level, and when you gain enough experience, you advance a level, which grants you a flat bonus in some stats. You have your attack value, which is determined by the character's equipped weapon. There are 3 stats that are used for various challenges: strength, agility, and intellect. Armor, which helps reduce the damage that you take in combat. And then finally health, which is your hit point value. During exploration, you can encounter monsters. Monster cards and character cards are marked with the order that they act in during each round. In each round, a hand of 5 crystals is drawn randomly from your deck of crystals. This hand is shared between both of your characters during a particular round. You can play up to 2 crystals during each character's turn, and then use 1 item. When you play a crystal against a monster, it deals damage equal to that crystal's power, and adds 1 aura of that color to your aura pool. When you have accrued enough auras of the appropriate color, you can utilize one of your active character's skills. Aura resets after each turn, and using a skill doesn't actually count against your actions, although they do have cooldown timers before you can use an individual skill again. When you damage an enemy, you can also knock out one of their crystals if the colors match the color you use to attack. If you eliminate all the crystals that an enemy has that turn, you deal an extra damage. Some crystals may be of multiple colors, meaning that they can be knocked out by any color that is displayed. These crystals refresh at the start of each turn, so you have to undo all of the crystals in a single turn. Enemies also have a special attack. These special attacks are marked with crystals of their own of certain colors. Each turn, a certain color becomes active and they revolve in a set pattern, and if the enemy's special attack is of that particular color, then that turn they can use it. Once an enemy is defeated, they may drop something. You do have to click on it to grab it, and if you fail to do so before you toggle to the next turn, you just lose it. So you have to keep an eye out for that. Most of what you get is gold and salvage. Gold is used in town, of course, and ever so many salvage items that you pick up, you can actually uncover a random item. Aside from combat, you also encounter various objects that you can loot during exploration, as well as certain interactables and events. An event can be either an all-must-pass type, where both characters must pass or suffer a consequence, or a one success to gain something, in which case either character may succeed to gain a bonus or open a path. These generally consist of a random die roll based on a character's 3 main stats, or, alternately, fate. Usually up to 3 flat bonuses can be added to the die roll if you choose. Some challenges give you a bonus for one or the other of your characters. Some may allow you to reduce the power of one of your crystals of a particular color to get a bonus, and some allow you to expend a consumable item to gain a bonus, if you have it, of course. It's interesting to note that even failed challenges can accrue experience, which you get at the end of the dungeon whether you succeed in it or not. Once you finish the objectives in a dungeon, you then return to town. This grants you the accumulated experience as well as any winnings you unlocked, and you may unlock other dungeon levels as a result of your success. If you are wiped out, you are merely returned to town without a reward, although you do get the experience that you accrued due to hazards that you encountered. So either way you cut it, you do gain something, although you do gain a lot more if you actually succeed. This does let the game progress even if you're having trouble with it, since you can just try and try again. So that's the basic gameplay overall. In terms of presentation, it's got colorful hand-drawn pixel art, which is okay, I guess. It's not terrible, it's not bad, but it certainly lacks a certain degree of polish. The music and sound effects are well selected, if a bit harsh at times. I do have an issue with how cluttered and clunky the interface is, although once you get used to it, it's alright, since the game's not really that complex, even though it sounds like it. The gameplay itself is interesting in terms of how it handles combat. It is a relatively unique system, and I'm glad to see the experimentation. It departs from the usual RPG mechanics that you expect in such a game, although I could see the system needing more work for the relatively limited gameplay of Mysterious Realms. It's only limited to level 5. It just works. Would I recommend Mysterious Realms? I guess maybe. It is a solid little game, but it's only really interesting if you're into the sort of new mechanics exploration. The storyline is nothing to write home about, but it's not terrible. The price point is reasonable, however, although the overall game isn't terribly long, so keep that in mind as well. It may be worthwhile looking for it on sale, because it does pop up on sale from time to time if you're just curious about the mechanics of it, and let's be honest, that's the main draw of it. On that note, I'm going to wrap it up here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my Indie Game Friday Mysterious Realms. As always, I'll pop a link to where you can pick it up below. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you got any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content, both tabletop and computer. Until next time, take care and goodbye. And if you're still watching this far, I'd like to take a moment to thank those who have supported this channel via Patreon or direct donations throughout the years, without which this channel could not have lasted as long as it has. For those who are feeling particularly generous, you can still support my work through Patreon and now through Subscribestar as well, through the links in the description below.